So we have to get started again. We connected. So it's now. So, I'm
YouTube.
I'm saying yes. Did you go on YouTube?
Not on Instagram.
Sorry, I'm on YouTube.
But YouTube, you go pop up here.
Oh yes, people are coming on. Yes.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay. The volume is okay. All right. Okay. Hey guys. So I had some technical glitches when it comes to coming on live. I don't know. I went on private. It was supposed to be on public, and then I went private. So, yeah, that's what caused the delay. I am so sorry, but now we can get started. The votes went in favor of hair growth, the honest truth. So that's what we are going to discuss today. I'm excited at the same time, kind of nervous. It's quite nerve wracking because I haven't done such a live stream before. The other time I was just doing a giveaway. Like, come on, you just go as it flows. But this is more structured, and that's why I'm using PowerPoint even. Like, come on. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for coming to my live, and we are going to talk about hair growth, the honest truth. And if you've got any questions, please let me know in the chats. Like, please comment in the chats. There is a QD Kitten B saying, I pray all is well. Yes, everything is well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we are going to go right into the discussion. Shall we wait? Let me know if you want us to wait. Monique Johnson said hi. Hey Monique, how are you? Thank you so much for coming through. And if who else is watching, who else is streaming, I would love to know where you are streaming from, and if you've got any questions when it comes to hair growth. Let me know in the comments. In the Deborah says good morning. It's afternoon here. Good morning. I'm assuming we've got quite a big, huge difference in time. Can you show some stretching techniques? Unfortunately, today I will not be able to show stretching techniques, but I can just comment on them because my hair is in a protective style. 1, 2, I wanted us to especially concentrate on hair growth and what affects hair growth. So this is going to be like kind of we are quite going to learn quite a lot today because I'm going to touch quite a lot, especially the science of hair growth and length retention as well. So yeah. Shall we get started? There is okay, so QD Kitten B is from Indiana, USA. Oh my goodness. And then there is Tendai She Zinoch Kiwei from Zimbabwe. Nice. Thank you, Tendai She. And then Mame Konadu, you can go ahead, please. Okay, I will do that, and then some other time a video later. Yeah, sure, I can do a video some other time, and then we can, or even do a live streaming where we can show that. So yeah, okay, let's get into this. Okay, so I need to get the hangs of this the hang of this program, that the app that I'm using. It's my first time using it. So it's going to be quite a challenge, but please bear with me and be patient with me, please. I beg. I beg. Oh. Hello, I'm here from Germany. My goodness, hey, that's nice. And then Precious Sheila says, "Hey, Mama. Hey, darling. How are you?" Okay, so let me get this thing started. um let me get, because I need now to switch on my phone so that I can manage the comments, because also, yeah, now I'm managing the comments from my phone, and then I didn't even know that my PowerPoint presentation is going to, okay, so oh my goodness, okay. Oh, okay. Hey, my goodness. Please bear with me. I'm just putting myself there in the corner, and then I will have okay, this is not happening, okay? Let me just end the slideshow. I think that's the best way to do it. Okay. And then do a slideshow from here. Oh my goodness.
Just make the PowerPoint full screen where it was.
Oh, okay. So it's what, this part? This one. Maybe let me, I'm thinking of removing this. How is it now? Okay, yeah. So I've removed the other screen. Yeah? Yes. Okay. So now, sorry you guys. It's a learning curve. I didn't know that using two screens is going to give me a hard time. So yeah. Okay, we'll see you later, QD Kitten B. So what we are talking today is the hair growth, like the honest truth. I know there's a lot of things happening on the internet when it comes to hair growth. There's a lot of do this twice a week or do this once a week so that you can get 7 inches in a month. Well, as much as I don't have the authority to say those things don't work, because, well, they could work. As much as the hair growth is often exaggerated, those things could work. But I am sure that there is science behind hair growth, and that science, if you know what is happening when hair is growing, then you can make a better judgment when it comes to your hair growth and what is affecting it and why it's growing fast at some point and when it's growing slower at another point. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. And so yeah, let's get this party started. If you got any questions pertaining hair growth, I'll attempt to answer them during this live. And if it's something that is I can't answer now, then I will definitely answer another time, you guys. It's this. I'm trying to. Let me do this here and then put the webcam on top. Okay, so yeah, so that's what we are talking about. And thank you so much for coming through. And Joyce R says hello, I'm from Germany. Hello Joyce, thank you. And then there's Zahia Beauty. I'm from Kampala, Uganda. Oh my goodness, my African sister. Thank you so much for coming through. And we are talking on hair growth, the honest truth. And if there are any who are going to join us, I think they can watch as when the video becomes available later, because definitely I'm going to make sure it is available later. Abigail Piri, hey, how are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so this is me. This the first picture there, it's about a year and a half ago when I'd cut my hair, and then the second picture is recently, about a week or two ago. And yeah, so this is how my hair has grown in the past one and a half years. 1.5 years. So this is how much my hair has grown. So so there are a lot of things that can affect hair growth, you guys, like so many things. The first picture here was when my hair was at its fullest and I had just given birth. So the second picture is when I had my postpartum shedding has started. It wasn't all gone, at least it was looking decent, the one that I'm in a kind of a twist out. But yeah, most of my hair had fallen out at this time. And so those are some of the things that affect hair growth, and we need to know about these things. And there is also a difference between hair growth and length retention. Hey, if you didn't know, that is a thing. Yeah, there is hair growth. The activity that happens on your scalp or just under your scalp is the hair growth. And then the activity that's happening after your hair has left your scalp, like above your scalp, then that's basically length retention. You're retaining the length that your scalp has grown. So I want us to do that. Oh my goodness. So there is Abigail Puri and Nandi Tandi CBC says, greeting, I'm from South Africa, city of Tshwane. Hey, PTA, thank you so much for coming through. And Abigail Puri says she's in South Africa. She's watching from South Africa. Thank you so much for the support, guys. I really appreciate you, and thank you for coming for my live streaming. Thank you so much. Okay, well, I'm just delayed to get this party started, but okay, I'm so excited to greet you guys and to hear what you have to say. So that's why I keep looking at my phone, because I'm using my phone for the comments. But thank you so much for thank you so much for the support, you guys. I'm so appreciative. I don't know how it's gonna go, but well, so far so good. So thank you so much. So yeah, so we are talking about hair growth. And later in this same live, I want to talk about length retention. So length retention is, as I said, is retaining the length that you've already grown. And then hair growth is the activity that's happening on your scalp, like just under your skin. And as you can see from this picture here, that's basically the structure of the hair. So there is the arteries and the veins that are supplying nutrients to the hair. And it's only the hair bulb. It's only the hair bulb that can actually absorb the hair bulb, the hair follicles, I mean, that can actually absorb those nutrients and then grow from within. So it's like the growth is, it's not like a tree whereby the nutrients get into the tree and then they go to the leaves, and then the leaves actually become greener as you feed the tree, and they become they have flowers and all that kind of stuff. That's not what happens with hair. No. So with hair, what happens is the feeding is in the root only, and that's what keeps multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. And by multiplying, it's actually extending length bit by bit, so that it actually goes more and more out of your scalp. So that's basically what happens. And the sebaceous gland here, there's a sebaceous gland here. This is what actually lubricates it. It excretes sebum that lubricates your skin and also your hair. It's all over the body, actually. This kind of arrangement, it's all over your body, because all over the body there are some hair follicles. It's just that most of the hair follicles are on the hair. So the sebaceous gland is one that secretes the sebum that lubricates your skin, your scalp, and also your hair. So there's Nkosi Roy. Yeah, Eve. Watching in South Africa. Thank you. South Africa is in the house. Thank you so much for coming to support my live stream. Okay, thank you. And I hope you're going to learn something from this, from the information that I'm sharing with you today, so that you can make conscious and informed decisions when it comes to following this hype and following that hype. Some of the things we can't even explain, and that there'll be a lot of people who will say, okay, this worked for me, and you can't explain how it really works, but it has worked and it's still working. So I'm not rubbishing these remedies when it comes to hair growth, you guys. I know there are a lot of things that don't have scientific evidence or scientific research based on them, but they were used by our moms, our grandmoms, and so many people in our lineage that we know these things work, and they just lack scientific research on them. So if you have used a certain remedy and actually helped your hair to grow, then please let us know in the charts, so that maybe we can look into it a little bit more, so that we can see how, or even try it if it is worth the trying, so that we can see if we can try it. Okay, so the question also comes, does hair continue to grow does hair continue to grow as long as there are nutrients coming to the hair bulb or to the hair follicle? Does hair just continue growing, like just because there are nutrients in the hair follicle and it's continuous? I wish I wish it was continuous, otherwise we'd have hair like Rapunzel's hair. So there are certain things that we need to know when it comes to hair growth, and these are the stages that your hair is going to grow. Sometimes your hair is long and full, and at one time, push, it becomes short, or it becomes thin, and you're wondering, what did I do wrong? Rest, gal. Sometimes you haven't done anything wrong, really. You haven't done anything wrong. It's just nature taking its course, because the hair is gonna have different stages of either growth or resting or falling or whatever the case may be. So there is no seasonal shedding when it comes to our hair, whereby we're like, no, in this season now their hair is normally sheds and all that kind of stuff. No, there's nothing like that. So at any given time, there is hair that is growing, and there is hair that is shedding, that is resting, and there's hair that is shedding from your scalp. So it's gonna happen whether we like it or not. It's gonna happen. So here's a little bit of more education, you guys. Cordelia from Pretoria, thank you so much. Does rice water help? I definitely think rice water helps, because rice water has got a rice starch and the rice protein so it's basically the protein and the starch that is in the rice that actually helps your hair shaft to become stronger, to become more resistant to breakage. But we're going to talk about that later, because there is a difference between hair growth and hair length retention. So I believe, and I strongly believe, that the rice water, according to its makeup, it helps with length retention, not necessarily hair growth. And is there any other question? No, there is no more questions. So let me continue with this. So we've got the growth phase, which is the anagen phase. So the growth phase is when your hair is like active. The hair follicle is active and is growing out hair at the rate that it's supposed to grow it out. And then there is also the transition phase, which is the Cartesian phase. So the transition phase is a very short phase. That's the shortest of the phases of your hair growth cycle. So Dawn from Brooklyn, hey Dawn, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you coming through. Okay, so we are talking about hair growth, Dawn. So yeah. So, and then there is the, like I said, there is the transition phase, which is a very short phase, and that short phase is called the Cartesian phase. So that Cartesian phase is where your hair bulb is formed. You know that white thing that when your hair is pulled out, and when you have a hairstyle, a protective style for too long, even if it wasn't tied, but a protective style for too long, and then at some point you see those white bulbs at the end of the hair that is pulled out from your scalp. Sometimes you haven't done anything wrong for those, as long as you know that your hairstyle wasn't too tight. So that's when at the Cartesian phase, that's when that hair bulb is actually properly formed as the hair follicle shrinks, because it kind of shrinks and stops the activity of growing hair. And then there's the telogen phase. That's the resting phase. So this resting phase is almost the same as the shedding phase, because it happens kind of like at the same time. I don't know what word to use for it, but at the same time, it happens at the same time. So the resting phase, the telogen phase, is when your follicle is resting, and it's not shrinking. It's not producing any hair. There's no activity in it. It's just resting, and it can go on for about 100 days, and it's just resting. So at that resting period, that's when your hair can fall out in preparation for another hair to actually grow. So that's why a lot of books that you may have read, or something that you may have listened to, they only go anagen, Cartesian, and telogen. They don't go on to the exogen. So the exogen, that's the shedding of the hair, when the hair actually falls out and then prepares for new hair to come out from that follicle. And just something that you need to know, all the follicles that are on your scalp, let me tell you this, you guys. The increase in volume on your hair, it depends on whether some of your hair follicles had actually stopped producing hair. Otherwise, if all your hair follicles are still active, or they go through this healthy hair cycle, that means there is no way that you can increase the number of hair follicles that can produce hair, or even just the number of hair follicles period on your hair. Because when you're like 22 weeks as a fetus, that's when all the mechanism or the hair follicles that you're going to ever have in your life are formed. Like that's when it's finished. It's not something that you can add on and all that kind of stuff. No, you can't do that. So there is no way of increasing your hair follicles, or your hair follicles that you are going to ever have in your life. You are born with them. And what you can only do when it comes to increasing the volume of your hair is when some of your hair follicles have become dormant or are not active anymore, and those are the ones that can be stimulated so that they can start producing hair again. So that's basically what happens. So if you've got any questions on this, you guys, please let me know, and then I can, in the chats, let me know, and then I can attempt to answer them. I know some of the things are too technical and maybe you don't need to hear them, but for those who want to hear them, well, yes, I just thought of giving you a little bit of that. So the growth phase happens between 2 to 6 years. So that's the length of the period of the growth phase, is between 2 to 6 years. I know there's certain situations which are like kind of different, because this is like just generalizing. There's going to be a growth phase that happens in about a year, or some people can grow their hair to 12 years. Like in 12 years, the hair is still actively growing. It hasn't rested. And those are the people that can actually grow hair way up to the ankles, because they've got a very long growth phase, because that growth phase is so much affected by genetics. Duh, I know. So the genes are everything when it comes to the length of the growth phase. Because look at it this way: as much as we may all want to have hair like Rapunzel's hair, according to the genes that we inherited from our parents, it's not going to happen just like that, just because we have done this and that. No, it's not going to happen. Genes are at play. Your genetics are at play here so strongly. And Shamim says, hey, hi, how are you, Shamim? Where are you watching from? Let me know where you're watching from. Okay, so genetics are at play so strongly that you can be, especially if the people in your lineage, like your mom, your on your dad's family and all that, if they've got very long hair, there are very high chances that you also can grow very long hair. But if they've got short hair and thin hair and all that kind of stuff, then those are the cards that you've been dealt. But listen, there is so much that you can do to actually have the best hair ever possible with those cards that you've been dealt. With that kind of hair that you can actually have, you can make sure that it's the best hair ever. So there is still a lot that you can do, but yes, your genes, your genetic makeup is so strongly at play, and that is what affects your hair growth phase, whether it's going to be 2 years and then whether it's going to be 6 years. So when we look at the hair, it grows about 6 inches a year. Mine grows about 4 inches a year, which is about 10 centimeters. True. My hair actually grows about 10 centimeters a year. I definitely do not retain most of that length or some of that length, but yeah. So 10 centimeters every year. We are looking at 10 centimeters is something like this. And then we're looking another 10 centimeters. I don't know if you can see my centimeters, but what I'm just saying is your genes are, so if your hair grows about 10 centimeters a year, then it means in 2 years, okay, so for example, 6 inches, let's look at the general one, 6 inches. If your hair grows 6 inches a year, then it means in 2 years you're supposed to have 12 inches. And there are very few people who actually have a 2-year growth phase. So we're talking of an average of, let's say, 3 to 4 years or growth phase. So two years is 12 inches. And then in 3 years, we are talking about 18 inches. And then in 4 years, oh my goodness, we are talking about 24 inches. So 24 inches of hair growth is what you get without any breakage, right? So according to your genes, you guys, according to your genetic makeup, that's how long your hair growth phase is gonna be. And then we're talking about stress. There are certain things or some stressful situations or experiences that force the hair follicles to just shut down and say, look here, I'm gonna concentrate on this body, because normally the hair, like the nutrients to the hair is like the last thing on the mind of the body. I know it sounds I don't know how it sounds, but yeah, it doesn't sound proper. But that's your body is going to give your hair follicles some nutrients if there's normally if there's leftovers. Otherwise, if there's no leftovers, then your hair suffers. So when there's a stressful situation or your body is going through some stressful circumstances or situation, normally it doesn't give enough. Nutrients. It doesn't give enough nutrients to the hair. So stress is one of the things that can actually affect hair growth. And then we have got nutritional deficiencies, especially women. Because of our menses, there is going to be a shortage of iron, and that can also cause your hair to quickly transition into the telogen phase, resting phase. Like your scalp, your follicles just say, look here, let's rest a little bit, because there's not enough nutrition coming our way, because the body is in short supply of nutritional nutrition. So because of nutritional deficiencies, your hair may actually have a very short growth phase. And then there's also something called age. As we age, the elasticity of our scalp, of our skin, is also affected, because it becomes less and less elastic. And because of that, it's the time that the hair follicles are active becomes shortened. Bit by bit, it becomes shortened. So as much as you may have had a 6-year or even an 8-year growth phase when you were younger, and as you grow older, that period is greatly shortened. And for some people it happens earlier and others later. So it is what it is. And then there's also hormonal imbalances. This affects men and women. We are talking about premenopause and menopause. The hormones are kind of haywire there. So that also affects your growth phase, because sometimes you can just start, okay, even the thyroid hormone, and if it's suffering, and you can actually lose your hair. They've met a lot of people who have lost their hair, and it's basically because their thyroid is not functioning very well. So that's one of the things as well when it comes to hormonal imbalances. And when it comes to men, we have got the what they call dihydrotestosterone. Sounds something like that. So it's when they also lose hair, it's called male pattern balding. So when they lose hair, especially starting from their hairline, or somewhere here on the crown, or something it starts from the hairline. And also women also suffer from that. So this is caused by hormonal imbalances, and it causes hair to fall or hair loss. Says Ada Igwe, says, hello from UK. What advice would you recommend to help me grow back my baby hairs as they are cold, as well as maintain them? Thank you for this, learning so much. Thanks, Ada, for the question. I am going to address that later. And but yeah, there's so much that you can actually do when it comes to growing your baby hairs or growing your hairline. There's so many things that you can do, and we are going to talk about later. So make sure you stay tuned. Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So there's also medication that affects the growth phase of the hair. So the length of the growth phase, rather. Medication, I still remember I was on fluconazole for some time, because of yeast issues. So I was on fluconazole for some time, and one of the side effects is actually that there is going to be hair loss. So I found that even my hair was affected in a big way, and it took me time to actually say, okay, this side effect. But sometimes a side effect may not affect you personally as much as you may be taking the therapy or the medication. But in this case, I discovered it very late, and then I had to stop the medication. I looked for alternative ways of actually solving my issues with yeast infections. So medication is a big thing when it comes to hair loss or affecting the hair growth phase, because that one is if your hair is growing for at least, or let me say, only 1 year or only 2 years, then yeah, it's going to affect the overall length that you're actually going to get out of your hair. So how do we manage it? Because I know we can't just look for the problems or the causes or whatever the case may be without coming up with some kind of solutions. How do you manage the growth phase to make sure that it actually gives you the maximum that your genes can actually allow you to? Because remember, your genes, you can't do anything. It's zilch, nothing. You can't do anything when it comes to your genes, because you can't do anything when it comes to your genes. I'm telling you, it's something that you just have to it's something that you just have to be. Oh my goodness, what is my phone doing now? It's something that you just have to like, those are the cards that you've been dealt with. So there is not much that you can do about it except to just say, okay, this is what I have and this is what I'm going to do because of this type of hair, or the growth, the length of my growth phase and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so your genes, you can't do anything. But when it comes to stress, you can better manage your stress or avoidance. There's certain things that we can actually avoid, you guys, when it comes to stressful situations, like toxic relationships, like toxic jobs, like there's so many things that we can actually, that give a lot of stress on our bodies, that we can actually avoid and decide to say, I'm doing away with this because it doesn't do me good. And your overall health definitely will improve if you actually avoid or better manage your stress. And then we have got nutritional deficiencies. So there's a lot of fad diets around, and some of them are very restrictive when it comes to the things that you can actually eat, and in the end, you don't really have a balanced diet. So avoid them, avoid restrictive diets, and especially if you can. I know there are certain people who have taken the decision to become vegan, and trust me, even when you are vegan or you are vegetarian, you can actually intentionally look for certain foods that complete your diet so that you have a proper balanced diet. And you can also use supplements. Supplements go a long way when it comes to if there is a deficiency, that is. Otherwise, taking supplements when you've got enough of that particular vitamin in your actual food, it doesn't make sense. But if you feel as if you are short, or you have had tests done, and you are short of that, or you're deficient of that particular nutrient or vitamin or whatever the case may be, then it's advisable to take supplements so that you can supplement your diet. And there's a lot that can come from this one. Like, we've got biotin, we have got folic acid, we have got SMM, we have got so many things and iron as well, especially for women. You guys, if you know that you bleed excessively on your menses, during your menses, then it's advisable. My doctor told me that, look here, take some iron tablets just when you start your menses, and maybe even up to the end. I'm not a fan of iron tablets, so I just take them in between that period when I know that I'm gonna be losing a lot of blood. I'm going to be losing a lot of blood because I do bleed heavy. So yeah, and then age. So there's this thing that's called UV damage. So sometimes we age prematurely because of the amount of time that we expose ourselves to the sun. So make sure that you limit your exposure to the sun. Healthier lifestyle as well, covering your hair when you covering your head when you are in the sun, or applying sunscreen when you are in the sun on your face, and also just making sure that you take care of your skin, you take care of your scalp as much as possible. And then hormonal imbalances, well, there's certain things that you can't exactly avoid. Like, for example, when I gave birth to my son, especially my last born son, that's when I noticed much. That's when I noticed it more. I lost a lot of hair during my postpartum shedding. Oh my goodness, my hair shed like so badly, and sometimes there's not much that you can do about it, because that's just like after you give birth, you do shed some hair. You can, I've heard that you can actually continue taking folic acid and some B vitamins, but I did shed a lot of hair, you guys, and sometimes there's nothing that you can do about it. And then, but if you it's because of your thyroid gland, or it's because it's pre-menopause and or post-menopause, or whatever has affected your hormones, then you can try and make sure you keep them in balance. And it helps in a lot of ways, and there's so many remedies as well. Besides going through the synthetic hormonal route, there's so many remedies that you can actually help, that our mothers have used over the years to help them to calm their hormones, or to balance their hormones out. So Mame says, no, this hello Amike, what advice would you recommend? No, these are old charts, I think. These are old charts. No, they are not old charts. So Mame says, I'm watching from UK. And then how do African products, for example, chebe powder, help in growing hair? To be honest with you, chebe powder doesn't help to grow hair. I know, coming from someone who actually does sell chebe powder, this is my honest truth, and I promise to give you my honest truth. Chebe powder doesn't grow your hair. What it does is it helps you to retain length. This is what we're going to talk about later on, but yeah, that's what it basically does. And then it says, what oils do you recommend for detangling? I don't like coconut oil for whatever reason. Okay, not for whatever reason. I don't like coconut oil when it comes to other applications. But when it comes to detangling, girl, like coconut oil helps your hair to just slip through. And especially if you're going to wash the hair, because it tends to dry out the hair as well if you keep it on your hair as a leave-on. But if you're going to wash out your hair, well, I recommend coconut oil. You can add it to your leave-in conditioner, or you can add it to your conditioner, and then detangling is just going to be a breeze. So yeah, I recommend that. So let's get on to, okay, so I was talking about how balancing the hormones. Balancing the hormones will help you when it comes, if your hair growth phase has been affected in a negative way because of your hormones, or for your hormonal imbalance. And then medication, as I mentioned earlier, check the side effects, and also kind of map what is happening when you take that kind of medication. Sometimes there are alternatives available that you can actually use. In the case that there are no alternatives, well, I think health is more important than having lustrous long hair. Sometimes we just need to give our body some time to heal, and then the hair will come back. Normally after you've healed, I've got a lot of people and a lot of friends who went through chemo, and after they were off the chemotherapy, after they were off radiation, the hair just comes back. So don't stress too much about it, that the medication that you are on, especially if it's a matter of life and death, the medication that you're on is causing hair fall. it's better to have bald hair than to not to have good health. So yeah, as much as you check the side effects of your medication and see if there are any alternatives that you can use that don't have those side effects, then you just ride on it, and it's gonna be fine. It's also going to pass, like every other thing. It's going to pass. And then one thing that is also so important when it comes to, and this is something that we can also have a very big contributing factor towards, that is the general state of health. When I'm talking about the general state of health, I'm talking about the nutrients that the scalp is actually getting. It depends on what the nutrients the whole body is getting, because if the body is not getting enough nutrients, because maybe you are on a restrictive diet or whatever the case may be, but if your body is not getting enough nutrients, how is your scalp going to get enough nutrients to actually grow hair? It's not going to happen. So the general state of health is very important when it comes to growing hair. And then there's also the health of the scalp. There's certain issues with scalp issues, rather. There's certain scalp issues like psoriasis, like dandruff from yeast, like contact dermatitis. All those things cause the hair follicles to shrink, and when they shrink, they go into the telogen phase, and then telogen, we are talking of Cartesian, and then that kind of thing, and then the hair is shedding. And then you're starting to wonder, okay, I've got a patch here. It's because probably you had some kind of a ringworm there, or you had some kind of psoriasis flare there, or that kind of thing. So the general state of health of the body actually helps. And so you need to also work on these other factors that may be affecting your body. And then also the circulation is so important. If there's an issue with circulation around your body, around your legs, your arms, around your scalp, then there is going to be a problem with actually delivering the nutrients as much as you're going to have enough nutrients. But if you're not moving around, you're not exercising, and you're not massaging your scalp, then there is going to be issues with circulation, and those nutrients may not reach your scalp, or may not be used, more like reaching your scalp so that it can be used by your hair follicle to actually grow hair. So that is so important, you guys. And yeah, I don't know if you've got any more questions. The last question that I have here is from Verbena Williams. Verbania Williams, what oils do you recommend for detangling? So if you've got any questions on this hair growth, please let me know, and then I can always answer them. But now we are going to length retention. Should we go ahead to length retention? Let me know. Let me know in the chats. Who else has just joined us? Please say hi in the chats and let us know where you are streaming from. I'd love to know. And yeah, so this is exciting. I had some glitches when I was starting the live, but yeah, everything came out. I managed to pull through, and now everything is fine. So let me know, should we go ahead with length retention? It's kind of a tongue twister for me. Okay, yes, Verbenia Williams says yes, we should go ahead. Okay, so I will take, there's no any other questions that are coming through in any case, so I would kind of take that as yes. And Ada Iglo also says yes, let's go ahead. So we are now talking about length retention, which is the activity that is happening above your scalp. Please go ahead from Tendai Share. So yeah, let's go ahead. We are talking about the activity now that is going going on above your scalp. Okay, after the skin, after the hair has left the skin. So this taking care of the hair shaft. And the things that can affect your retaining length, they are normally breakage, thinning, and splitting. Who doesn't relate to this? Like breakage, thinning, and splitting. Well, that's my life. J Mark says hi from Indiana, USA. Thank you so much for coming through. I like the scientific way. What are you saying? What you are saying is the truth. I learned that at college 15 years ago. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Mami. Thank you so much. And I hope a lot of people are going to learn a little bit more about the science behind it so that they're not taken by every fad and every hype that comes around, but they are able to see how exactly it's going to benefit their hair. So, yeah. So we're talking about the length retention now, and breakage, thinning, and splitting. That's just the symptoms. So these are not what we do to our hair. These are the results of what we are doing to our hair on an everyday basis. So you guys, let's look at the causes. So what normally causes the breakage, the thinning, and the splitting is, well, excessive washing. I know there's a time that I used to wash my hair 3 times a week. Nothing wrong with that if you use the correct hair products meant for washing hair 3 times a week. If you use correct products, then there's nothing wrong with that. Let me just take a sip of some water to avoid dehydration. So excessive washing may tend to actually dry out your hair, and then it may cause a lot of breakage, because if your hair is dry, then if it's dry, it becomes brittle, and then it becomes so prone to breakage, not brokerage. So it becomes so prone to breakage, and when your hair breaks, sometimes it is as a result of excessive washing, and also no proper conditioner for your hair type. So washing hair is fine, but not conditioning it or not using the correct conditioner for your hair needs may also break the deal when it comes to length retention. So it also causes breakage. So that's one of the things that you have to take note of. And then excessive styling. I know when I and being on YouTube doesn't even help matters, because sometimes you're trying to create hairstyles that you're going to record on a later stage, and somehow you can actually hinder your length retention or cause a lot of breakage because of excessive styling. Or sometimes you just want to play with your hair. You don't even have to be on YouTube, or you don't have to be trying out different hairstyles just because you want to record them, but you've watched different YouTube channels or YouTube videos, and then you want to try it out. You're like, yeah, my hair is out, I've stretched it, or I've whatever. I want to try the Pemrod side. I want to try a twist out. I want to try a bantu knot out, and then every day you're doing that. Well, that may actually cause breakage and may hinder your hair growth. Your hair growth goals to be reached. And then there's also excessive combing. So yeah, I've noticed there's a time that I used to do finger detangling only, and I noticed that my hair became thicker. I don't know why I don't go back to that, or maybe I'm just too lazy, or I don't know, but my hair did grow much thicker when I was doing finger combing only or finger detangling only. But yeah, excessive combing also leads to hair breakage. So that's one of the causes of hair breakage. And then excessive heat. You guys, heat damage is real, and I'm talking from experience. Heat damage is so real. Besides it damaging your curl pattern, especially if you've got natural hair like me, it also leads to breakage, to weakening of the hair, and it becomes so flimsy and thin, especially the ends, and splitting is inevitable. So especially if you do excessive heat styling, well, heat damage is what you're gonna have. And it also depends actually from person to person. There's some people who can get away with heat styling more often than others. So it's something that you also have to learn on your own, that hey, you can't play with heat. I learned the hard way. I can't just play with heat. I have to plan it, like to say, okay, this year I'm going to heat style my hair once, or else, yeah. So that's one of those things. And then there's excessive hair bleaching. So when you're bleaching hair, you're actually lifting the cuticle so that you can take out the melanin or the color that is in your hair, that is naturally in your hair. So when you are bleaching, you are lifting the cuticle and to let it to make it lay smoothly again, so that it doesn't cause breakage, doesn't cause splitting or that or any damage to the hair. Is quite difficult. That's why there are conditioners and masks that are specific for heat, for bleached hair, for color treated hair. So make sure that as much as you may do color from time to time, don't do it excessively. Don't put bleach on top of bleach. No. Don't put bleach on top of bleach now, and also don't go too light, because the lighter you go, the more you have to lift the cuticle so that you can take out all that pigmentation, that black pigmentation from your hair. And then UV damage from sun exposure. So I spoke about that earlier on, which can also cause splitting, especially the splitting. Besides damaging your scalp and aging it so much quicker, UV exposure or UV damage from sun exposure also damages your actual hair. So that's one of the things. It's not wise to have too much sun exposure. And then the remedies. These are just the few things that you can actually do. These are just a few, like the options or the things that you can do to remedy length retention is quite a lot. So I just put up a few things from the list that I listed from the list before, which is the causes of you having breakage, you having split ends, split hair, you sometimes even a mid shaft, and also you having what it was breakage and then splitting. Yes, and it's just a few remedies that you can use or that you can do to remedy your situation. So the first thing is avoid over cleaning the hair. Sometimes use conditioner to wash your hair, especially if you feel that you need to wash it more often. And it is actually good to wash your hair at least twice a week. Yeah, if you've got more time, 3 times a week. But don't use sulfate shampoos. Don't use shampoo each and every time, even if it's a sulfate-free shampoo. It's not necessary to use shampoo every time that you cleanse your hair. You can use a conditioner or you can use a co-wash to do the other washes, and then maybe wash your hair once a week with shampoo or once a month with shampoo, or something that is actually going to give you a deep cleanse, or something that is going to clarify your hair to make sure that there's no buildup. But yeah, so that's one of the things. And then use products that best suit your hair needs. So with natural hair, for example, it's important that you use products that are meant for your kind of hair, like so that it can take care of dryness, and it can take care of detangling, for example. It can take care of a lot of things when it comes to washing your hair, taking care of your hair, and make sure that it's conditioned so that you can have the best hair possible. So just use those products. And if you've got a bleached hair or color treated hair, then you also need to look for products or conditioners or masks that are going to help your hair needs. So make sure you do that. And then the other thing as well, like the excessive styling. Take breaks in between demanding hairstyles. You can't put in braids after braids. Like you take out braids today and then you put braids the next day. I know I sometimes have a disagreement or kind of a pulling from different directions with my clients in the salon. It's not often, but it will happen once in a while, such that it will happen that someone wants you're taking out braids, and then they wash, condition, or deep treatment, do a deep treatment, and then they want to put braids in again. And sometimes we normally just say, okay, even every time we normally just say, look here, we can give you a nice beautiful hairstyle that goes with the wash. You don't have to pay for the hairstyle, but you can come again, let's say after 2 weeks, and then have your braids in. For this time, please just give your scalp some rest, or give your hair some rest, so that it can actually be conditioned, taken care of, not in braids or not in twists or whatever protective hairstyle that you want to put in, especially the demanding ones, the ones that have extensions in. It's best to just take a break in between those. And then protective styling, yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that a protective style has to have braids in or hair extensions in. You can actually do a protective style. You can actually do a protective style without braids in, hair extensions in, like twists. You can do flat twists with your hair only. You can do so many things, like even the yarn braids, the yarn cornrows without extensions. You can do even cornrows without extensions, loose twist without extensions. So that is actually those are the kind of hairstyles that you can use when you are giving your hair a break in between demanding hairstyles. And then avoid heat. That goes without any question. If your hair is suffering because of heat, excessive heat, then avoid heat and learn from your mistakes. If your hair doesn't like heat, it doesn't like heat, and you can't force it. Yeah. You can't force your hair to like heat. You can use heat protectant. I do that. I use the lowest heat possible. I do that. But somehow, my hair doesn't like heat that much. And I've come to accept that. So, yeah, avoid heat if you need to avoid it. And then going lighter leaves the cuticle as much as possible. So, avoid bleaching. So, there's some temporary dyes, or there's some temporary waxes that you can actually use now, so that you don't have to bleach your hair. Or you can go just a little bit lighter using temporary, not permanent or semi-permanent hair color. You may actually opt for those ones, so that you don't end up damaging your hair, because in any case, it is your choice, but it's a matter of making an informed decision to say, okay, this is what I'm doing to my hair. I don't really mind the damage that the bleach is gonna do, because I want the bleach more than healthier hair. Yeah, information allows you to do that, and freedom also allows you to do that. We are free to do what we want with our hair. So, but I'm just telling you so that you know what you can do and the consequences. So going lighter leaves the cuticle. So avoid bleaching, and maybe use semi hair color or waxes that give you color until you wash. And then you can also cover your hair from when you're in the sun, from the sun. Wear a cap, or when you go for jogs, wear a cap, or you can also wear a head wrap. You can wear a hat when you go out to the beach, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, cover your hair so that you don't have to suffer from damage. Any questions before we go to that last slide? Any questions? But if you I did have a question from one of the viewers. I can't remember who it was. She said, how can I remedy my hairline? She had a hairline that was suffering. Let me check here. Would you recommend to help me grow? Yes, so it's from Ada Igwe. She says, hello from UK. What advice would you recommend to help me grow back my baby hairs so that they are cold, as well as maintain them? Thank you for this. Learning so much. Okay, so is your hair already in distress? Like, are you already experiencing hair loss, or your growth phase is not as long as you used to have, and all your hair is breaking, you're not retaining as much length as you used to retain? Let me let me know in the comments. I am going to still stay on a little bit more, or you can, I'm going to post this video, I'm going to post this live on my channel, so you can go there and also comment, so that you can so that we can look at it, and then I can address it in the next live. I'm planning to do these lives every week, so that we can educate ourselves on hair growth and on hair care practices, and also for my salon viewers. There are a lot of people. Who watch my channel, who are subscribed to my channel, and they are stylists. They work in the cosmetic field, and they work in the hair care field, and I want to do some videos or some live streaming that is going to benefit those ones specifically. So let me know any questions in the comments section, or in the chats, so that we can address them as they come. But I'm going to address this question here from Ada, the one that she said, as they are called, recommend to help me grow back my baby hairs, as they are called, as well as maintain them. So if you got receding hairline, as in the hairline, the hair around your scalp has around your scalp, come on. So if you've got receding hairline, and the hair around the perimeter of your head, like the hairline is receding, and it's becoming thinner and thinner, and it's not looking good, there is a lot of things that you can do, and most of the things are over the counter, or something that you can, the remedies. There are lots of remedies, you guys, that I'm going to share with you as soon as possible. If I share with you now, oh my goodness, I'll be here for another hour or two. But there are so many remedies that you can do when it comes to retaining, when it comes to getting your hairline, Okay, Nandi Tandi CBC says, please expand on protective hairstyles. Thanks. All right. Yes, I am going to talk about protective styles soon. But I'm going to answer these questions that you have put here, because one of the topics that I'd asked you guys to decide on which one we are going to do first, there was protective styling. So that's the third one actually, but yeah, it depends. Okay, that's the third one from the three topics that I'd asked you to decide on. It was hair growth, and then it was get to know me better, and then it was also protective styling. So yeah, I'm going to answer you, Tendai, She, and then also Nandi. Yeah. So, but if you your hair is in distress, and then you still want to learn how you can nurse it back to health, please subscribe to my channel, and then hit the notification, so that when I go live, you are notified. And then that way, anytime I go live, you are notified, and then you can actually come onto the live. So please make sure that you subscribe and hit the notifications button. And then you won't miss any of the videos that I put on this channel, and you won't miss any live that I come on. So yeah. And so how long should one keep a protective style on, braids especially? Okay, so for braids, it depends on how your hair actually keeps the hairstyle, and how small the sections are. If the sections are kind of medium sections, then 6 to 8 weeks is still fine. But my hair only keeps it still looking decent for about 4 weeks. So there's not as much of a prescription when it comes to taking care of, when it comes to how long you can keep a protective style in for. But as long as it's still looking healthy, it's still looking clean, it's still looking nice and neat, and also as long as there are no hairs that are pulling out. Because sometimes when you braid and then you do the perimeter of your scalp, of your hair, like the hairline, and then you're still taking those small those small sections, especially around the hairline. You know what? Your hairline, like I was talking about the growth phase. Your hairline has got a shorter growth phase. That's for some people, and for others, it has got the same growth, the same length of growth phase as the rest of the head. But for some of us, we have got baby hairs, and these baby hairs, they've got a very short growth phase. So because of that, normally, even if your hairstyle was not too tight, when you take out your protective style, it normally comes out with some of the hair around the perimeter of your head. And that's not to say that you are losing hair or it's like a catastrophe. No, it's just because it shed whilst you were still in the protective style. So in the case that you took very small sections and then some of the hairs have already pulled out from your scalp because they are in their shedding phase, if you stay with the hairstyle too long, it means the hair, the braid is going to be holding on fewer hairs. And then it's going to be too heavy for those fewer hairs. And when it becomes too heavy, then it's going to cause traction alopecia. That is